My dad never came home from a walk he took when he was 14. He's still alive. He's sitting in the living room right now watching a Lakers game with the volume too loud. But the boy who left the house that night in 1987 never made it back inside the same skin. This is the story he only told me once, the night I turned 14 myself. He made me swear on my life I'd never repeat it exactly, because some things need witnesses. San Juan County, Utah, 1987. Tiny town outside Bluff. Population barely 300, mostly Navajo and Mormon. No streetlights past the gas station. After dark the desert swallows everything. Dad, his name's Tommy, and his two buddies, Ray and Darren, had just watched Return of the Living Dead on a bootleg Betamax at Ray's cousin's trailer. Movie let out around 8:15 p.m. They had a 20-minute walk home along Old Highway 666. Yeah, the actual road the feds renamed 491 because too many people kept dying on it. Halfway home the boys split. Ray peeled off toward the river, Darren toward the sheep camp. Dad kept walking alone on the shoulder, moon fat and orange, coyotes yipping somewhere far off. That's when he saw the old man. He was standing under the only working streetlight on that stretch ever had, right where the asphalt cracks into red dirt. Navajo elder, maybe 70, silver hair in a traditional bun, wearing a faded purple velvet shirt and jeans so worn they were white at the knees. He looked lost or waiting. Dad was raised polite. His mom drilled it into him. You always check on elders after dark, so he crossed the road. Yati Shichi, you okay? Need a ride or something? The old man didn't answer at first, just stared with eyes so dark they looked wet. Then he smiled, no teeth, gums black, and said in perfect English with no accent, I'm waiting for my grandson. He's late. Dad relaxed a little. I can wait with you if you want. My house is just up the hill. The old man tilted his head like he was listening to something Dad couldn't hear. Then he nodded. They stood there maybe 5 minutes. Crickets, wind, nothing else. Dad glanced back down the highway. Empty. When he turned around again, the old man was 20 feet closer than he should have been, without taking a single step. Dad's stomach flipped. He muttered something about needing to get home for dinner and started walking fast. He didn't run yet. Running from elders is the worst kind of disrespect. But every time he looked over his shoulder, the old man was closer. Same calm pace, same soft smile, but covering distance like the road was shrinking under his feet. Dad started jogging. The old man matched him. Dad broke into a full sprint. The old man dropped to all fours, body twisted completely backward, head facing forward between his own shoulder blades, and came crawling after him like a broken spider, fast, way too fast, knees and palms slapping asphalt without sound. Dad says the last thing he saw in the streetlight was the old man's face upside down under his own crotch, still smiling, mouth opening wider than any human mouth can, black tongue flicking like a snake tasting air. Dad hit our front door at full speed, shoulder first, splintered the frame getting inside. Mom screamed. He slammed it shut, threw the deadbolt and collapsed. Right when the bolt clicked, something hit the door hard enough to rattle every window in the house. Once then silence. Mom wanted to call the sheriff. Dad begged her not to open the door, just don't open it. They sat up all night with the shotgun across their laps and every light in the house burning. Morning came. No footprints. No blood, nothing. Just a single purple velvet thread caught in the splintered wood where the doorframe cracked. Dad never walked that road at night again. He finished high school, joined the Marines, met my mom in Oceanside, had me. Normal life, except one thing. Every few years, wherever we live, Utah, California, now here in Vegas, Dad wakes up screaming the same exact time. 3:33 a.m. He says he dreams he's still running on 666. And when he looks back, the old man is wearing Dad's own grown-up face now, crawling after him, whispering in Dad's own voice. You promised you'd wait with me, grandson. Last month we had to move again. New house, new city, same nightmare. 2 nights ago I woke up to pee at 3:15 a.m. and heard the front door creak open downstairs. Slow, like someone testing if it was locked. I froze on the landing. Footsteps, bare feet on tile, soft, patient. I crept down far enough to see into the living room. Dad was standing in the open doorway, barefoot in his boxers, staring out at the streetlight glow. Not moving, just standing there like he was waiting for someone. I whispered, "Dad." He didn't turn around, just answered in a voice that wasn't completely his, too calm, too old. "He's here." My grandson finally came back. I looked past him. On the edge of the lawn, under the streetlight, stood an old Navajo man in a purple velvet shirt, smiling. He raised one hand and waved, slow, like he'd been waiting 38 years for this exact moment. Dad took one step forward onto the porch. I screamed his name. He stopped, blinked, looked back at me like he'd just woken up. Then the old man was gone, just gone. Dad slammed the door, locked it, and hasn't slept since. This morning I found a single purple thread caught in the door jamb, and my phone just pinged with a new text from an unknown number. "Highway still open, grandson. I'll wait under the light. Bring your father this time. He's late again." People think the worst motels are the ones with blood on the sheets or needles in the toilet. They're wrong. The worst ones are the quiet ones where nothing looks wrong until you realize you're never leaving. My name is Lucas Reed, 29. Traveling salesman. I sell industrial HVAC parts to casinos and prisons across the Southwest. October 17, 2023, I was dead tired after driving a Minus 10 from Tucson to Quartzsite, Arizona. The only place with a vacancy sign still glowing was the Starlight Motor Court, 12 units in a U-shape around a gravel lot, neon cactus flickering pink and green. The clerk was ancient, skin like cracked leather, name tag just said Earl. He slid the key across the counter without asking for ID or credit card. Room 107, end unit. Quietest one we got. His smile never reached his eyes. "Long drive, huh? You look like you could sleep forever." Room 107 smelled like old cigarettes and something coppery underneath. The art on the walls was worse than cheap. Hand-drawn charcoal sketches of winged things with too many joints crouched on rooftops, staring in windows. I laughed it off, took the hottest shower I could stand, and passed out in my clothes. I woke up at 3:07 a.m. to the sound of someone standing outside my door. Not knocking, not walking, just standing. I could see the shadow of 2 boots in the gap under the door, motionless for minute after minute. I called the front desk. Earl picked up on the first ring, voice calm as a graveyard. "Yeah, that's just the guest from 106. He does that sometimes. Don't open the door." Click. I didn't sleep again. Morning came gray and cold. I threw my bag in the truck, ready to peel out and never look back. Earl was waiting at the office door, sipping coffee from a stained mug. "Sleep okay?" I told him about the guy standing outside my room all night. Earl just nodded like I'd mentioned the weather. "Oh, him. He checks out every morning, but he always comes back. Says he's waiting for someone to let him finish what he started." He leaned closer. Last night he was thinking about breaking the person in 107's shoulder blades with a tire iron. Real specific, the way he described it. Said the crack sounds like music. I laughed, because what else do you do? Earl didn't. He left an hour ago. You probably passed him on the highway. I got in my truck and floored it. 80 miles later I stopped for gas outside Phoenix and realized I still had the key to 107 in my pocket. Heavy brass, old-fashioned, number stamped deep. I meant to mail it back. Never did. 3 months later I was in Vegas for a trade show. Stayed at the MGM Grand, 32nd floor, city lights glittering like broken glass. I woke up at 3:07 a.m. again, same standing shadow under the door, same two boots. I flew home to Denver the next day. New locks, security system, the works. 3:07 a.m. the following week. Shadow under my apartment door. I moved twice after that. Same thing. Every place I sleep, 3:07 a.m. he's there, waiting. I started digging. Starlight Motor Court was built in 1959 on land where, in 1957, a drifter named Calvin Lee Whitaker murdered 6 people across 3 states, always in motel rooms, always crushing their shoulder blades with whatever tool was handy so they couldn't crawl away. His last victim was a night clerk named Earl Grayson, beaten to death with a cash drawer. Whitaker was cornered at the half-finished Starlight site. Cops shot him 17 times. Body dumped in an unmarked grave somewhere out back. Room 107 was the only unit finished at the time. They found Whitaker's bloody tire iron inside the walls when they poured the foundation. The motel's been sold 4 times. Every single owner kept the same night clerk, an old man named Earl who never ages, never takes a day off, and always gives room 107 to lone travelers who look tired enough to sleep forever. I haven't slept more than 2 hours straight in 2 years. Last week I cracked. I drove back to Quartzsite, pulled into the Starlight lot at 2:47 a.m. Neon cactus still flickering. Earl was behind the counter, same mug, same dead smile. "Took you long enough," he said. "He's been waiting." I asked for room 107. Earl slid the key across, same brass key I still carry. "Checkouts whenever you're ready," he whispered. "No rush." I walked to the room. Door was already ajar. Inside, the sketches on the walls had changed. Every single one was me. Me sleeping, me showering, me screaming, drawn in charcoal and something dark that smelled like pennies. He was sitting on the bed. Same clothes he died in, purple flannel gone black with old blood, face half blown off from the 17 bullets, but still smiling. He stood up slow, tire iron dangling from one hand. "I just need to finish," he rasped. "Then we can both check out." I didn't run. I was so tired. I laid down on the bed and closed my eyes. The first crack was my left shoulder blade. Sounds exactly like music. They found my truck in the lot 3 days later. Engine cold. Keys in the ignition. My bag still in the passenger seat. Room 107 was empty, freshly cleaned, sheets folded perfect. Earl told the sheriff I never checked in, but if you drive past the Starlight Motor Court tonight, pull into the lot and look at room 107's window. You'll see a new charcoal sketch taped to the glass from the inside. It's you, reading this right now. Earl's saving the room for you. He says you look tired. And check out. There is no checkout, not anymore. Here's another one, same desert nightmare vibe, short and sharp. My name is Daniel Cole, 34, long-haul trucker. I run dry goods from Albuquerque to Barstow and back, mostly at night when the roads are empty and the CB stays quiet. March 9, 2025, 2:13 a.m. somewhere west of Flagstaff. Rained so hard the wipers couldn't keep up. A single vacancy sign glowed through the downpour. Desert Bloom Motel, color TV, clean SHETS, 11 units, peeling turquoise paint, one buzzing bulb over the office door. The clerk was a woman, maybe 70, hair like white cotton candy, name tag just read Marge. She didn't look up from her crossword when I walked in soaked. "Room 8, she said, sliding a real key across the counter. "No card, no ID, no questions. It's the quiet one. Nobody ever complains." Room 8 smelled like rose water and bleach. The bedspread was that thick 1970s orange. On the nightstand sat a little ceramic dish of hard candies wrapped in strawberry print cellophane. I took one out of politeness, then crashed without even kicking off my boots. Woke up at 3:33 a.m. exactly, heart hammering for no reason. The room was silent except for a soft rustle like someone turning pages. I sat up. The ceramic candy dish was now full of teeth. Small ones. Children's teeth, some still pink at the root. I spat the candy I'd eaten onto the carpet. It wasn't candy. It was a fingernail painted faded pink. I grabbed my keys and ran for the door. It wouldn't open. The deadbolt turned, but the door itself refused to move, like it was welded shut. Through the peephole I saw the parking lot empty except for my truck, and every light in every room was on, curtains open, but nobody inside any of them. I called the office. Marge answered before the first ring finished. Everything all right, sugar? The door won't open. A soft laugh. That's because you haven't paid yet. I left cash on the dresser. No, honey, not that kind of payment. Click. At 3:37 the lights in my room went out. Pitch black. Then the rose bleach smell got stronger, wet, like someone poured a whole bottle right outside the door. I heard the soft rustle again, closer, fingernails dragging across wallpaper. I backed up until my legs hit the bed and something grabbed my wrist. Cold, small fingers, too many joints. A little girl's voice, right by my ear. You ate my candy. Now you keep me company forever. I screamed, yanked free, and threw myself at the door. It flew open like it had never been locked. I ran through the rain to my truck, slipped twice in the mud, didn't look back. Made it to the cab, locked the doors, and floored it out of there. In the rearview I saw every curtain in the motel close at once, neat as a theater curtain falling. 300 miles later, dawn breaking over the Mojave, I stopped at a travel plaza to piss and breathe. When I came out there was a strawberry print candy on my driver's seat. I still find them. Dashboard, glove box, under the mattress in my sleeper berth. Sometimes a fingernail, sometimes a baby tooth. I haven't stopped driving in 8 months. If you're ever on a minus 40 around mile marker 82 and see a turquoise motel with a flickering desert bloom sign, keep going. No matter how bad the storm is, no matter how tired you are, because room 8 is always empty. Marge is saving it for you. She says you look like someone who could use a little company, and the candy's fresh.